And we're live. Welcome.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot to do a countdown.
You didn't do a countdown at all.
Yeah, I forgot to do that. So, anyway, welcome everyone to another episode of Always Late to Everything. And I'm here with my guest, or co-host, whichever one you want to refer to them as, Grady.
When I'm here regularly, I'm a co-host. If I miss like a couple weeks, then I guess I become a guest again. I don't know how long it's been since I've been on.
Well, we haven't really missed that much. It's just that the show itself has been on hiatus for a while, so...
Hiatus. Yeah, that sounds about right. I was pretty busy anyway, so I'm glad to have had a little bit of spare time. I didn't want to miss it. If I was going to miss it, it wasn't going to be my fault.
Yeah, I mean, we were both busy with schools and stuff, so decided just to take a break.
I still haven't finished my classes from the spring. The great thing about being a grad student, the professors, they go out of their way for you a little bit because they have maybe 10, 15, 20 grad students in any particular program. So they give you a lot of attention. So I had a final paper. I didn't finish it, and my professor just basically gave me what's called an incomplete. So I can send him the paper later on, and then if I pass, he'll just go back and change that grade later on. So at this point, I'm still in limbo as far as my spring classes go.
Okay.
And that is all about that.
That's good.
It's good that he gave me leeway. It's bad that the paper still isn't done. Well over a month after the class is officially over.
Interesting.
Yeah. They're long papers, and I'm a little bit lazy. Alright.
I mean, you can also make the argument that you've been busy with other stuff, so I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. I'm a little busy. You shut up. I'm sorry. Sorry to end. Rest in peace, headphone users.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me give me 10 seconds. Vamp for 10 seconds.
And he has his own little co-host, Paradot, so nice to see. Is it a boy or is it supposed to be a girl?
We think he's a boy. With parrots, the boys are more talkative. So, we think he's a boy. Right. The girls, they don't talk. He can say things. He can say words. Not just those things that he's doing. He was pretty quiet before we started rolling, which is unfortunate. This has been my life when it comes to doing YouTube for a living. I am kind of working with him at his whim. If he decides I'm not recording during a particular time, I guess I'm not. I wanted to do live streaming and stuff, like what you do, because I like what you do. I think it's a really cool format, but he's unpredictable, so it makes it a little bit difficult for that sort of thing. So it's easier to do pre-recorded stuff.
Yeah. I mean, what did you want on live stream about though?
I play a whole lot of games and stuff. Most of my videos, also where I do the react stuff, I could do that live too. I could do pretty much anything that I do on my channel in a live format. Nothing I do isn't something you could find somebody on Twitch doing. There's nothing too unique about it.
Okay. I'm actually in the process of doing gaming stuff, so...
Oh, that's always cool. It's fun.
Yes,
it's fun.
Yes, I'm actually... That's also part of the reason why I'm using this as well, to kind of test that out so I can do the gaming stuff. So I plan on doing that within a week or two, maybe even this week. We'll see.
All right, I'd love to see it. Do you have a first game in mind?
Yes, I am going to be streaming the Final Fantasy VII remake.
We'll see how that ends up working. Are you doing it like on a console or through like PC?
PS4.
Okay, that's a little safer. Like those games can be a little bit heavy if it was on like a computer and your computer's not like super strong. Like that might be a pain, but a PS4 that's consistent enough.
Yeah, it's just that if I wanted to do like dialogue, whatever, then I'll be using something like this to do that. But the footage is going to be streamed through the PS4. I already tried it out with Sonic Mania, so.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I already tried out yeah.
I hope that ends up working out for you, and I'll check it out if it does work out. We'll see.
Why you say
anytime you try something new, we're gonna put an if in front of it anytime it's something you try for like the first time.
Wait, why do you say that though?
How many times have we started something that like didn't work out day one? Like we've had so many like attempts at like a first episode of something that just either didn't make it to air or we decided like didn't really count as part of like the main thing. A lot of this goes back a little bit, but we've had moments like that.
Yeah, I know. With the better late than never saying that, that was kind of a mess.
Yeah, it's doing okay, I guess. Like we do have a little bit of consistency. We've accumulated an okay amount of episodes so far. Yes, well, not the better late than never thing. This is kind of like the sequel to that, but like the same thing.
Yeah, that we only got up to like 7 episodes for that.
It's just rebranding.
Yeah, for multiple reasons. If you want to know why, you can watch the first 3 episodes. That's when we talk about that.
Yeah, but like as far as like substance wise, virtually the same show.
Yeah.
Same people, similar subjects. I think the stuff you've done in this iteration of the show though has been definitely stronger. You've had like a wider array of guests, and it's been a little bit. I guess we had like a consistent thing going on with the first iteration of the show, but I guess it feels like it's been a little bit more chaotic in a fun way. The way you've done this one.
Well, yeah, because I guess you say I have a little more experience, and plus, the thing too is that like we've had more guests on this one. Though that was probably because those were some people I was planning on bringing on for the other show, and we obviously know how that kind of ended. So just want to bring this for this one.
Yeah, like, it's not bad.
Like the White Boys for Swag thing, that was really just supposed to be that was originally supposed to be 1 episode. But then I found out they kind of broke up, so it wound up being 2.
Header.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how that ended up working out. Like, so are there any new chapters to that story? Have you continued to follow the epic that is the breakup of the White Boys with Swag?
Well, since you say that, like my last guest was actually a fan of them.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like who? Who is not a fan of the White Boys with Swag? You'll have to be more specific.
Well, she actually worked with them on some stuff, or rather, they helped her out with some things. Because I think she said they edited one of her music videos, something like that.
Oh yeah, the last one you did was the lady who put out an album.
Yes, her name is Emily. She's someone I go to school with. She also just graduated as well.
That's cool. And did that one go well?
Yeah. Oh, maybe a little too well, because that thing wound up being like 3 hours.
Oh gosh.
But then again,
your interviewing skills must have come a long way, because that's a long time to maintain a conversation with anyone.
Yeah, the funny thing is that we didn't really talk about the album that much. I think we talked about that for like 5 minutes.
That's when people are paying the most attention. The least people have clicked off during the first like 5 minutes of conversation. So
I've told her
As
this
long
too.
as you got it in.
I mean, we're gonna see. Tom and I we're actually planning on doing like a music podcast, so I'm gonna bring her on that one too.
Oh,
At least
that'd
I'm
be
planning
cool.
on, so we can talk more about the album because we actually just want to talk about random stuff. We even talk about politics and stuff.
Shake up.
And it's funny too because she actually before she went to the school I was going to Suffolk. She actually went to a school that I plan on going to in the fall.
Oh, that's cool. So, like,
yes.
You just basically are finishing up community college. You're gonna continue your education like beyond that?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. I wasn't sure what your plans were. Like, it was like one step at a time. I didn't want to ask you about like what do you do next because you already had a hurdle in front of you.
Why you say like what's all the shade tonight?
I'm not throwing shade. Like I'm actually saying like when you like get on somebody like, oh, what are you gonna do next? What are you gonna do after that? It like takes all the emphasis away from what you're working on right now, and I think it's like undue pressure, really.
Yeah.
Before I finished, pretty much every step along the way, it's all like, what's the end game? What's the job you're gonna get? Have you been looking around or whatever? Well, I'm kind of working on something right now. I'll get there.
Yeah.
Like maybe you like talking about your long-term plans. I'm not a good long-term plan talker, so I try to avoid that stuff. Like my planning in itself is a little weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of weird with that too. I have like both long-term, short. Well, maybe it's me trying to make short-term things into long-term. I guess I don't know. But like with school stuff, I do have like an idea of what I'm trying to do with that. So
that's good. So what is the end game? Where does it end up being? You're doing like communications or something. So where does that go?
It just goes.
but where does it end?
Like honestly, I'm just kind of using that to feed into this. So it's just a never-ending circle.
So you want to be in like independent broadcasting type of thing?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I kind of realized I just want to do my own little thing. Just well, I think it just kind of works better for me, I guess. So
yeah. I appreciate the idea of being independent. I really like that as a concept. I'm always trying to aim to like maintain as much independence as possible in the stuff that I work on. Like if I have to work for somebody, it's kind of like a temporary thing. I'm the type of person who would rather run his own business if I can. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah.
But I will entertain that it probably won't.
Well, with that attitude, it definitely won't.
I just try to keep my expectations low.
See, that's the problem. You don't take risks.
Yeah, I'm doing fine, I think, maybe. I don't know. For now, I'm doing okay.
Yeah, but I'm a big risk taker. Well, maybe that's part of the problem. I take too many risks without really thinking too deeply about it until I'm in it.
You're about to start your your 14th podcast.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Hey, the more projects you start, maybe it's a thing like you throw everything at the wall and something will eventually stick.
Yeah, that seems to be where this is going. Because actually, I think Tom said he wanted to do 2 podcasts with me, both of them being kind of music related. Like one of them is just gonna be us talking about music, and the other one's gonna be doing interviews with people. So
that's kind of cool.
So by the end of it, I'll be in like 5 different podcasts basically.
Just on the face of it, that sounds hilarious.
Yeah, I know it sounds messy, but hey.
I've always wanted to like start a podcast, but I could never know what I'd want to do. I'd only want to do one, but it would be hard to like pick one topic and just stick to that.
Well, what do you want to talk about?
Not sure at all.
Like,
I guess I wouldn't mind interviewing people. Interviewing people sounds like fun.
Okay, about what though?
I don't know. I'd just like to find interesting people with interesting thoughts and let it go from there, you know?
Yeah.
Like the white boys with swag.
Everybody loves the white boys with swag.
Just find the eccentric people and let the content make itself, basically.
Yeah.
I just love talking to like smart people, weird people, you know, anything really. But also like everybody and their mother has a podcast, and I don't know if I could do it particularly well, so I kind of focus my energy on what I'm doing now.
You can probably do a podcast well. I mean, you probably be better than me when it comes to it, so just give it a try. Like,
yeah, it's just another project though. So I'm thinking about it. What do I want to spread myself too thin? I'm picking up one of my old gigs again. I'm going back to when I used to be the cameraman at that wrestling show. I'm going back to that now that I'm fully vaccinated and have a little bit more time on my hands. I'm going to be filming wrestling again.
Oh, okay.
So that's another thing that's going to be on my plate. It's not going to be as hard this time. I have a very powerful computer now that can handle way more than I used to have before. Like I had this like 10-year-old iMac that was like sitting on my floor at the old house. I think it's still there. It just could barely function, let alone edit complex things with 3 or 4 layers at a time. But now I have like a really strong computer, so it's probably going to be a lot easier this time around. And I really missed wrestling because like the weirdest people, you could meet like all these different people from like all over the world, because wrestlers travel, they have lots of stories, they're some of the strangest, funnest people you could possibly meet. And that's another thing, like I wouldn't mind interviewing people, because I would like when the people would come from interesting places, I would talk to them and I would ask them about their experiences and stuff. Like I remember talking to a guy from Australia for a while after one of the shows, and we got into a big conversation about his visa. That in itself was interesting, because the guy couldn't get a work visa, so he got a vacation visa instead, and went to America to wrestle on his vacation.
Okay.
And that is the story.
That's interesting. Well, did you want to do like
stuff like that?
So, did you want to do like a wrestling podcast then?
That could be fun. Like they're interesting people. I could definitely see myself interviewing some wrestlers. I joked about starting a wrestling podcast because I like to set people off. I just randomly tweeted like, finna quit YouTube and start a wrestling podcast, and a few people actually took me seriously and they got concerned. I wouldn't mind doing that. I used to do the wrestling podcast stuff, but I didn't have any traction back then as far as that goes. Now, if I did it now, I would at least have a few people watching. So I don't know. There's all sorts of options. I don't want to start anything that I'm not going to actually commit to for a while. So I'm sitting on the ideas for a while.
Okay.
Because I used to just start projects left and right and just not finish any of them. Now I start very few projects, but when I do. I actually commit to them.
Like, I don't know, with the projects I do, I start them and then I just let them kind of die out eventually. They just kind of crash and burn.
Yeah, you know what? At least you try. Yeah, you have the audacity to try.
It's something like that though.
You're reading too much into my words today. Like, it takes a certain, like, daringness to put yourself out there and try stuff. Like, most people don't have, like, multiple podcasts. Most people don't put videos on their YouTube channel. They'll just watch other people and think about maybe doing videos. Like, that's just how normal people are.
It's kind of funny you say that because I'm very, like, introverted and antisocial, so I think that's part of why I'm doing this is to kind of help with that.
Same. Like, I don't, in real life, I don't talk to people much. But on the internet, I talk to people plenty.
No, because I was just checking my phone and, like, you know, some guy I just met, like, at the school, like a few weeks before, I think, like, the last 2 weeks before the semester, and he's saying, like, you know, I'll tell that for later. That's kind of personal, but no, but just in general, like even like getting invited to like hang out with new people, just the thought of it kind of gives me anxiety. So
yeah, I get that. Like that's perfectly normal. It's probably worse these days. Like a lot of the pandemic stuff has made people a little bit more afraid of that. It's like there's some people who are like inherently anxious, and then there's kind of a learned anxiety, and a lot of people are starting to experience even more of that. And those who already had that anxiety, it's just piling on.
Yeah.
It's a weird time. Weird time to be alive.
It is a weird time, so I didn't even think about that part about the whole you know, everything's opening up. I kind of talked about that in my in at least the live stream version of the 65 Roads thing about some of the anxiety I kind of having about it. But I'm gonna again re-record that like on what was it whatever it's called. I can't think right now.
Yeah. Have you reconsidered getting the vaccine? I know you were hesitant about it. Like a lot of people, like early on, a lot of people were hesitant and wanted to see other people get it before they got it. Have you thought about it more?
Yes, I've thought about it more because I don't know if I forgot to tell you this, but like between all the stuff that I was doing, like with graduation and all that, I also got sick. Yeah, so that happened. So like, I mean, yeah. So because of that, I am kind of reconsidering. I'm still concerned about it.
Yeah, like now, a lot of people have it now, and it's making a huge difference. It's not. A lot of the new cases, like we're not getting more new cases. It is really flattening at this point. Which is really cool. I got the two shot, the Moderna one, and it was all right. I think my symptoms were a little bit more on the minor side because a lot of people, when they get the second shot in particular, they'll feel a little crappy that day. I didn't get it too bad. Like I just I had a sore arm. I was a little tired and I took some ibuprofen and I was fine. But some people get a little bit sick, like very mild, like kind of flu-like symptoms, like the day after the second one. And a lot of people get nervous about that, but it's not too bad. It's no different from like every once in a while people will get the flu shot and they'll feel a little bit crappy the next day or something like that. But overall, I think the good outweighs the bad, especially with you. You have a pre-existing condition, and that's something I worry about, and I don't want you to get the COVID, because it's not going to be good for you.
Yeah, I know that. I know somebody that got it with CL, so I mean, person's doing better now, but yeah.
It's probably an especially rough time. Like I got it with like urgency because I have asthma, and like I'm gonna be fine probably if I get it and have asthma, but I know I'm gonna have a really tough time, and I'm not gonna be happy about it. So I'd rather take that maybe 1.5 days of having a sore arm. But you know, in the end, it's your choice, and I just want you to be all right, man.
Yeah. Of course.
Now that you've seen some examples of people taking the vaccine, maybe it'll make you a little bit more comfortable. And I don't blame anybody who was hesitant at first, because there was a lot of funky information coming out around all that stuff, and a lot of people. I understand being skeptical of the whole process, because it did feel like it was quick. There were little bits of rumors coming out. Oh, this is gonna do this to you or that, and like I get all that, but I think it's starting to show that. I think we're gonna be all right.
Yeah. I would hope so, anyway.
One would hope. We can only do our best.
But yeah, like, was there anything more you wanted to add to that conversation?
I don't know. How long do you think it's going to be before like every conversation does it? Like before we can go through like an hour of conversation without mentioning COVID? Like I feel like I've not had a conversation that didn't bring up COVID since the beginning of COVID.
That's a good question. I guess when it's finished, it should be like, I don't know, maybe like
I think it's gonna have to be like finished for a while before that like wears off, and that's not what I'm thinking in the back of my head constantly.
Yeah,
it's like a widespread trauma that we all experience together, and we talk about it to make ourselves feel better about the whole thing, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess it's nice to know it's a shared experience in a weird way. Like we all have this, and we can all kind of relate to like the restrictions that it's caused for us and stuff. So, but man, I actually am ready to move on from this conversation, because I think at this point I'm getting fatigued about the whole thing. It just comes up out of kind of instinct. I've learned throughout this year to bring it up in conversation, and I should probably stop.
I was about to say something that's probably not appropriate. I was about to say it's like pillow talk, but I meant to say table talk.
I mean,
oh my goodness, what is wrong?
I don't know, man.
That's funny. But anyway, let's get into another subject before it starts getting weird, or weirder, I should say. Yeah, sounds like, yeah. Hey, want to talk about COVID in the bedroom? No, we're not doing that. But anyway, let's go into the topic we were supposed to be talking about today.
Ooh.
So, all right. So, how far are you on One Piece?
All right. So, spoiler alert for anybody who cares about One Piece. Just putting that big tag there, so that we have the excuse to talk about whatever. With One Piece, we are at like getting towards like the end of Marineford, which is, I'm very anxious about the whole thing because I haven't experienced Marineford. I don't think I've actually, outside of like watching a clip of Ace's death, I don't think I ever watched it in the anime. I think I read the manga back when I experienced it the first time. And I am so like nervous knowing what's coming, because like One Piece has hit me so much harder this time around than it did when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it with my girlfriend, and I know what's gonna happen. And she kind of knows what's gonna happen. I think she knows about I think she knows about the Ace thing
well, you
from like the internet and stuff. But I don't think she has any idea how bad it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, In my opinion, that's probably one of the. Well, I would say that, and the other one is probably one of the best deaths I've seen executed in an anime.
Oh, probably. I think the one thing that Oda does really well, when characters break down and they are sad, he doesn't do like the sexy cry thing with like the tears running down the face, but like they keep a straight face.
Yeah,
He does the ugly cry, like the faces like contort and like stretch into like these weird, disgusting shapes, and they're like because that's what happens when you break down. It's not a sexy cry typically. It's usually uh like an uncomfortable like thing to look at, and I think that's something that his style gears towards.
hmm
He knows how to make the faces just like stretch and change and stuff. Like they barely look recognizable. And I remember those little panels of Luffy. He just looks destroyed. You barely recognize him the way he's drawn. Hey, shut up.
yeah. Like, no, I agree. Like, no, I remember a YouTuber named I remember YouTuber was saying, and he wasn't even like a big fan of One Piece, but he's enough to he follows enough, whatever. But he was saying like one of the things he thought that Oda does really well is like building up tension.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Like, even just like building up a conflict in general, I think that's something Oda's really good at.
Yeah.
So much so that I
feel.
Yeah.
I feel like he sometimes I think his stuff drags out too long, and I think he can get long-winded. But I don't
most definitely.
hate it when it gets long-winded, like the way that I hate it when like Naruto towards the end got long-winded.
Yeah.
Like he's not as bad, but like you'll have arcs that are undeniably good. Like think of like Skypiea or something. It's a good arc, but it dragged out a little bit too long.
It did.
Or from what I remember reading, all the stuff from like Dressrosa, like it's good, way too long.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think that was one of his weakest arcs, honestly. Like that arc.
I think Oda's weakest arcs are better than some people's like medium arcs, though. That's kind of the thing with him. I think he sets a high standard. I think that should be pointed out.
No, it's absolutely true. I mean, it's you can argue that's why it's like number one for a reason. Like objectively, One Piece is actually a really good story. Like even the weaker parts of it's still better than like the average level people's like stories or whatever. So
yeah.
Or even some of the best.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it right now. Like I remember not liking One Piece as much when I was a little younger.
Yeah.
I think it's aged better for me. I think this time around I'm mentally in the right place to take in One Piece and what it's trying to deliver. I don't know if I was looking for what One Piece was giving back when I was reading it the first time. Now I'm really happy with it.
That was the same case for me too. When I was rewatching, because I rewatched it with my with Jennifer, and we was watching quite a bit of it, and definitely was enjoying it that second time around. And I think I've heard people say that too, that they actually enjoyed it more on a rewatch or reread than like the first time going through it. Especially if you're catching up to the series later on, you're kind of just trying to get through the series to catch up to it. So, yeah, and I think also like if you've like already like watched or read it beforehand and then kind of doing it again, you also start to catch some things that maybe you didn't see the first time. Like, oh, okay. Like for example, there's like some things that like Oda has set up earlier on. I was like, oh, I was like Jinbei, for example.
Yeah.
He's a character that's been like built up for like a long time. Like he's like ever since like the warlords were first introduced, he was actually the first one that got name dropped, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I didn't remember that. I was like, oh, okay.
Didn't even think about it. Like, yeah, that's definitely why it works better on a rewatch. I think one of the reasons I may have struggled with it before, I'm thinking about this, and this may be it. It's kind of a miserable process reading the manga, one chapter at a time, one chapter every week. I think that may have been the worst thing I could have done for this series. Because I'm consuming it now in just bulk, like 6 to 10 episodes a day.
Yeah.
And I love it. But
that's
one chapter every week was the hardest thing in the world with One Piece.
See, this is why, and this is exactly why I stopped doing chapter reviews. Like, because honestly, at one point, for one, I just wasn't really enjoying them, especially trying to do like chapter live reactions, and especially like doing it for a series like One Piece that's kind of wordy, or worst case scenario like Hunter x Hunter, which is like a novel. I only did those because I really enjoy that series, and the times the chapters come out for that series is like it could be like years. So I try to milk as much like Hunter x Hunter content as possible as most people do who follow that series. It's just, and but yeah, but honestly, like, and even with that series, I would say I actually enjoyed it even more rewatching that as well, especially like the Chimera Ant arc, which is an arc I really wasn't particularly fond of, but I enjoyed a lot more rewatching it. But yeah, but I think in general, especially for like like the longer series and stuff like that, I think dealing with them in bulks is much better than doing them week to week. So that's why I don't do chapter reviews anymore. I don't do chapter live reactions anymore. As a matter of fact, I'm not even really like necessarily reading the manga right now. I'm just gonna wait until, like, for example, the current arc is Wano. I'm just waiting for that to finish, and I'm just gonna. Well, the anime also is airing right now. I watched some of the anime stuff, and that's been pretty good. So I'm probably just gonna wait until the whole thing's finished and then just marathon it.
Yeah, I think with series that are more seasonal, I'm down with doing just watching them as they go.
I still wait until the season's over and just blast through it.
and that's a fine way to go about it, and that might be better. But I find it easier with a series that maybe like a season at a time. Maybe it'll give you 12 episodes. Maybe it'll give you 24 episodes. I don't know, depending on what kind of season it is. But it'll give you something like that. I find that a little easier to do 1 week at a time. These weekly shonen series, it's just something else. With Hunter x Hunter, though, you mentioned that, and I've been meaning to watch that for years because Yu Yu Hakusho is one of my favorites. That's like the same author, right?
Yeah, Yoshiro Togashi. The husband of
Yu Yu Hakusho is like my favorite fighting anime, I guess.
It's a lot of people's favorite.
Yeah.
And
it has one of my favorite anime theme songs.
No, I'm not as crazy about Yu Yu Hakusho as most people, although I kind of started rewatching it. But no, yeah, the theme song slaps though.
Yeah, like that screams like, oh, this is a different time in anime.
Yeah, but it's amazing though. It holds up pretty well though.
Yeah. They just don't make theme songs like that anymore.
They don't. It's interesting. It gets you pumped and stuff, but it's also relaxing as well.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like, oh yeah, that's another thing too. I've been kind of missing like those anime openings, like the ones from like the 90s and even the 2000s. Like those used to hit hard. Like, yes.
Yeah. I plan on going back and watching some older anime. Like I wanted to go back and watch Sailor Moon because I've never watched the whole thing. And I know it's really important. It's a very important anime as far as like the history of anime goes. It's influenced so many things, but I don't really appreciate it that much because I have only watched like some episodes that came on Toonami when I was a kid, like after a show that I wanted to watch more.
Yeah, same. Here's a fun fact though. The author of Sailor Moon is the wife of Yoshiro Togashi.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That feels right.
Yeah, two
That, fe-
legendary mangaka. They're married.
that feels like it works.
Yeah, a lot of
But
people are hoping if Togashi never finishes on 100 that she will. Some people are saying
yeah,
that they want her to do that right now.
like if
or at
anybody
least or at least
were
help him.
to,
Or at least help
like,
him.
I don't know how old they are at this stage. I know that stuff can be really strenuous. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of why I'm hoping Oda wraps up One Piece soon.
Oh yes. Look, here's the thing. That's one other flaw I would say with Oda is that he has all these ideas, and I think sometimes he gets lost in them.
Yeah. But
But
when they come
it's
together,
not.
it's very satisfying.
It
That's why I
is.
kind of like I want him to have his vision because it works out way more often than
No,
it
see,
doesn't.
that's the thing too. Oda is. You can tell Oda is very passionate about this series. Like
Hmm.
it shows. It shows in the writing how
Yeah.
passionate he is about it. Like, because you can tell when someone really cares about what they're doing,
Yeah. Like
and you
you
can
can
watch
tell he
like
had so much planned out really early on because he always shows you how much he had planned out early on. Either that or he's like planting seeds and then reverse engineering stories behind them. But it seems more likely that he's
I
had
think
so much of that series like mapped out from the beginning.
honestly, I think he already planned out the entire series, and he just and he like at least like the main parts of it. I feel like he already had all that planned out, and like the stuff he did, he kind of planted.
Hmm. Like
That's how
there's
I
some
feel.
elements that I don't think he knew how crazy it would be from the beginning because like early on, uh it's a surprisingly tame anime series. Like
Yeah, I
it's
was
a
weird. I thought that, I was surprised about that too. Going through the East Blue Saga, I was like, wow, this is actually kind of like chill. Like,
yeah, like these are mostly normal people with like one anomaly, the devil fruit users.
yeah,
They
and there
didn't
weren't that
have
many
things
of
like
them in.
hockey. They didn't have like all these like other special powers that people had. When Hawkeye cuts a ship in half, it's like the most insane thing in the world. Like this is the peak of what this series could be. But no, that's just scratching the surface. People are going to be able to like breathe and cut ships in half by the time you get to the time skip. Like the
Yeah, but
weaker
he,
characters could probably cut a ship in half.
yeah, and that's another thing too. I feel like Oda's for the most part has handled like the power scaling stuff pretty well.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it gets crazier, but it doesn't feel like it feels consistent. Like it feels like things are gradually getting crazier, but not like all right, it just shoots up. Like
Yeah.
because
I
I
like
was
that I'm not completely sure who's the strongest.
Oda does that on purpose, by the way. He
Yeah, I like that it's vague.
Yeah, but that's another. I feel like both his strength and a flaw in his story, but maybe more so his strength is that it's how vague he leaves a lot of things because it keeps
Hmm.
people guessing and it keeps people engaged in the story because now everybody's predicting stuff, including the power scaling as well. Because it's like, well, I don't know how strong this character is until you
Yeah.
actually see it. It's not like set in stone. Like for
Hmm.
example, like in Dragon Ball Z, like it's pretty much set in stone who's the strongest is.
Yeah. That's the thing. Dragon Ball Z, it has a very linear way of looking at power. And then you have series like Naruto that literally the put like a letter to it. Like these are S rank people, these are Chunin, these are Jonin, these are whatever. They have like actual things like to put to it. One Piece they have the bounties, but they don't seem to actually correspond with strength.
Well, I would say up until a certain point it does, but even then it can still be kind of vague. Like strength definitely comes into it, but it's not the only thing.
Yeah,
That's the thing. And when it
you'll have
is,
little things like Buggy has at this stage in the series. I've seen his most recent bounty. It's weirdly high. You'll have, of course, things like Usopp, which are, of course, jokes, but also have a little bit of truth behind it. Usopp has come a long way and has, in a sense, inadvertently caused a lot of mayhem. Like Usopp
Yeah,
has kind of failed upward in a lot of ways, but he's not really the strongest character.
yeah. I also think Usopp's highly increasing bounty. I think it's setting up for something.
Yeah,
See, that's the other thing too. It's
possibly.
like stuff like that. Stuff like that can also be like foreshadowing, set up for other stuff, and that's the other thing too. It's like he does it in ways where you wouldn't even really expect it. Like even like more like the jokes and stuff can lead into like an actual plot point.
Yeah.
I don't think I've really seen anybody able to pull that off.
Hmm.
But yeah, like, and again, like going back with the balance and stuff, like when someone else really have a high bounty for like, I guess maybe like power scaling reasons, it's usually emphasized. Like when you start getting to like the billions and stuff, they make a big deal about like, okay, this guy has a huge bounty because this and that, and usually
Yeah.
that'll be setting up for like Luffy or the Monster Trio to probably eventually defeat those guys
Hmm.
over time.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm getting a lot of messages.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what arcs have you really been enjoying so far?
Trying to think of which one has like really stood out. I guess you know what? There were elements, and this is an arc that I did not like as much the first time around, and I still don't think is perfect. I think I like Thriller Bark more than I used to.
Same.
I think it highlights in a lot of ways Oda's ability to remember things that he left behind, and it shows that when the Straw Hat Pirates move on to the next place, the world behind them doesn't disappear. There are still things happening, and everything else still matters. You leave this whale behind. That still matters. And I think Brooke's story was kind of beautifully told, despite the fact that the villain is not very good.
Yeah, that's the
I
weakest part. The
think,
villain was trash.
yeah, that's probably one of the big issues here. If I heard that laugh one more time, that arc, I was ready to turn it off. But overall, I think that arc highlighted a lot of Oda's strength in doing strong backstories. I don't think there's any character that I'm really disappointed in their backstory.
Speaking of which, I think. Do you remember when I told you I didn't really like Brooke that much?
Yeah.
I've really come. My feeling toward him has changed a lot. Like he's not my favorite, but I do enjoy him a lot more now than I did before.
Yeah. I think I've grown more in favor of his style of humor. It's repetitive. And maybe I didn't like that before, but it's kind of it's kind of the thing of a running joke. Some types of running jokes, like the more you just layer them on top of each other, the funnier they get. And it kind of comes with your willingness to laugh at things that are kind of stupid. And that's kind of the thing that I like about Brooke casually, but also he's a very noble character.
Yeah.
He has that going for him.
Yeah, no, that's the
and
part.
Like, yeah, he's a perv, but like his pervy elements are kind of light compared to some others.
Yeah, I actually noticed that too. His perviness, I remember it being. It's actually not as bad as I remember it being.
He politely asks to see their panties, and if they say no, it stops there.
I was going to say
honestly, like,
a little worse with that, and even then, he's.
Like, I remember with Sanji, I was so disappointed because I forgot about this. There was the guy on Thriller Bark that he fought who had that fruit where you could turn invisible.
Mm-hmm.
And Sanji was like, I wanted that so that I could peep on naked girls. And I'm just thinking, like...
Okay, I actually found out.
I get that Sanji's a bit of a pervert, but that seems like a little worse than it should be for him. He seemed like he had... like a sense of honor that he wouldn't go like behind their backs and do something like that. It always felt like he wanted to like honestly earn that, despite the fact that he was very misguided in his methods. But then he does that, and I'm like, oh no, he's straight up Master Roshi. Okay.
Still better than Master Roshi though.
Well, yeah, Master Roshi. A lot of the stuff with Master Roshi hasn't aged well. Especially if you watch the original Dragon Ball now, it's kind of weird to watch now.
Yeah, although I probably say I feel like he's at his worst in Super. Interesting enough.
Oh, I like him in Super, kind of.
No,
I like him more in Super.
Here's the thing. I enjoy
self-aware.
Yeah, like no, it's just that I do think they take it a little too far. Like when he in the Tournament Power, when he was doing like that whole soloing Universe 4 thing, like one of the things he did was scare that lady off the ring. That was a bit much.
Yeah. That I kind of forgot about that. He's
like when he's being like when he's being like a cool, like he's just doing like cool stuff. He's really into, like when he's doing like more old guy stuff. Like that's when he was like at his best.
All right.
Instead of doing like the pervy stuff.
Like with Master Roshi, I really want to like him. That's the issue. I want to. There are things about him that make you want to like him, but damn it, like sometimes it's just weird. It's one of those things like it's not okay anymore. Not that it never was. The reason we thought it was okay.
I don't know. I've had to rewatch the original Dragon Ball. It's been a while since I've watched it, so I can't really like. I can't really say that's how bad this stuff was back then. Like, cause last time I watched the OG Dragon Ball, even though I never really finished it, I watched it up to like No, there was one arc I just never finished, and that was the King Piccolo arc. Cause I watched all the other arcs. Interesting enough, I just never watched that one, or at least I never finished watching it. I started watching, and I just couldn't finish it. Like I don't know, the arc just it didn't grab me for some reason.
Yeah.
I know it's a little weird because a lot of people say that's the best arc in the OG Dragon Ball, and some people even say it's the best arc in the series, and I don't agree with that. I couldn't even get. I don't even know if I even got up to like any of like the secondary fights, like with the henchmen. I don't even think I even got that far. Like I got up to like a few episodes, and I just could not get through the arc. Like I even tried to skipping to like the big fight with King Piccolo. I couldn't finish that either. I don't know what is. I don't. I tried watching the fights in that arc, and I tried watching the arc itself. Couldn't get through it. All right, I'll just watch the fights. I couldn't get through it. I don't know why. None of the other arcs have done that for me with Dragon Ball. It's just like it's just that arc. I just can't get through. I don't know why.
Yeah. To be fair, like I think I liked a lot of the earlier Dragon Ball stuff more as well. Like up until like. I think up until the King Piccolo stuff, like one of my favorite fights, though I haven't watched in a long time, so I don't know how well it holds up, is the Tien fight.
I watched that a few months ago. It's still a decent fight.
Okay, like it's I remember that one being a lot of fun. Like we have like flying elements when they were still new, like flying and fighting.
The only thing I will say is that with those big tournament fights, I feel them kind of dragged after a while.
Yeah, I couldn't get enough of tournament fights. Like that was a very easy hook for me. Anything involving a tournament was great. But that's just that's a personal bias towards tournaments in any anime, not just Dragon Ball.
I don't know. My favorite tournament are still, I would probably say, would be the tuning exams.
The tuning exams is a fantastic idea.
Why you say like that?
I find that the tuning exams, I guess the tournament elements were some of the stronger things. It did leave you a little bit unsatisfied with the tournament elements of it.
Why?
Because it's kind of one. The fact that it was incomplete, really. But like the stuff they did with it overall were like fantastic. I always felt like kind of saddened by the fact that they didn't end up like concluding some of the fights that I wanted to see in that.
Yeah, the other issue I will say with that though is that like the conclusion to it overall, it almost feels like it didn't really matter because the people who actually wind up winning their fights didn't even like pass. As a matter of fact, the one guy that passed didn't even like win his match, which I completely forgot about. I thought
Yeah.
Shikamaru actually beat Tamari, and then rewatching myself, I was like, oh wait, he didn't.
No, he lost. I thought that was
That,
Shikamaru being the one who passed was I think that was a great decision. He ended up making a great tuning,
yeah,
but
I just have a
I was okay with him not winning and them looking at his evaluating his skills because it was supposed to be that just an evaluation of skills. The fact that it was only one of them that passed is especially weird. One person from one village because the whole thing was to keep the villages more balanced. And I was kind of surprised that they only had one pass.
I think that might be because of the whole Orochimaru thing.
Well, yeah, everything in that arc is about Orochimaru, unfortunately.
Well, that's because he was the main villain of that arc, though. So
yeah, it just I think it was some great long term storytelling though. Like I can't really complain about it because it is one of the best arcs in Naruto overall, and I think a lot of the stuff, despite the fact that it interrupts some stuff that I really wanted to see, what we got was also incredibly awesome.
Yeah, but you said unfortunately though, so what, you didn't like that?
There's just all sorts of stuff that I would have wanted to see. I wanted more tournaments in Naruto if we could have, but
I always thought we was going to get at least one more with the like for example becoming a Jonin. I thought there was probably gonna be like a Jonin exams, and that never happens.
Yeah, they didn't seem to have like a consistent structure with promoting Jonins, and I didn't really get that.
Yeah,
it seemed like you could just become a Jonin, like whatever.
Yeah, but I see that's the kind of issue though, is that after the time skip, it's mainly about dealing with the Akatsuki, so a lot of that stuff is just kind of like off screen and just kind of thrown to the side because the main conflict is just dealing with them. I mean, think about it like this: most of the characters become a Chunin after the time skip.
Yeah,
which kind of goes back into my issue with Shikamaru being the only one to become a Chunin on screen, because I'm just like, if all the other characters were just going to become a Chunin, not even like that long after the fact, at least. Well, I guess maybe, but like, I just kind of feel like maybe there should have been at least a few more people that should have became it, especially since I do think some characters kind of showed their worth during that whole conflict. Like Naruto, I think should have became a Chunin.
Eventually, that would have been nice. I do like one thing. Naruto is notorious for having bad filler. They did end up doing a filler arc where they did the Chunin exams that occurred between the time skip.
Yeah,
I don't know if you ended up watching that one.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah,
I remember it being okay. I don't think I remember.
Good. I liked it.
I don't think I finished it. I think that was shortly before I stopped watching. But from everything that I saw, it was fun. It had one of the tailed beast people that we didn't get to meet. I don't know if it was like the 5 tails,
7 tails.
7 tails, the bug one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They actually switched her out a little bit, which was cool. They actually made me like her character.
We didn't get to see most of the tailed beast characters.
Yeah, they kind of just got off screen.
If it was Oda, we would have gotten a backstory for him.
We would be having like a big arc for each of them. Yeah. Kind of like how he was kind of doing with the warlords of Blue Point. So we would have like an arc, or maybe a whole saga, like a collection of arcs, just about each of the Jinchuriki.
It's just a very different writing style. A lot of the stuff with Naruto, it left me wanting more, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, but I think the issue too is the fact that, at least I don't know what stuff you wanted more of, but I know the stuff I wanted more of could have been done, and a lot of that probably could have been done pre-time skip. And because looking back at it now, I do feel like the pre-time skip stuff was a little rushed.
Yeah.
Because think about it. All right, so And that's one of the things I've been kind of liking about Boruto is that they've been taking their time a little more to get to those big things instead of just kind of jumping right into it. So
Yeah.
with Naruto, first chapter is the entirety of the what was that thing called, the academy? The academy.
Yeah.
Then the teams will form, and then they form the teams. And apparently, according to Boruto, like that test Kakashi does, apparently that's the Genin exam
Yeah.
or something like that.
Basically,
So all of that,
it seems like they all kind of do some variation of that, but it seems like the different teachers have different criteria for what it means to pass.
yeah. Although in Boruto, Kakashi was the teacher again, and everybody in his class had to face off against him. So I guess they just kind of left like that. So the first 5 episodes is going through what actually wound up being full arcs in Boruto. So it basically went through like 2 or 3 arcs in 5 episodes, and then episode 6 onwards, you get the first actual you get into the actual proper arc. Even though the first 5 episodes would technically still be part of that arc, but the Land of Waves, because that's technically the first arc, and the stuff that happens before is still technically part of that arc, but the actual mission itself starts until like episode 6.
The Land of Waves was always weird to me.
But what I'm saying
bring
is that,
up.
What?
It felt like philosophically it had something important to do with it. Like Naruto learned some stuff from this, but it feels like otherwise so disconnected from everything else. Like we always got flashbacks back to like the lessons Naruto learned from that, but it felt like the whole story felt disconnected from everything else that was going on otherwise.
Okay, that goes into like the lack of world building with that. It's funny because it's interesting because the arc has world building. It does. It's just that the stuff with that doesn't go anywhere. That's the problem. It introduces something that should have been more prominent, which is the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist. Because all right, let's say you watch One Piece and then you go into Naruto. The way it sets that up, you would think that like the 7 Swordsmen is going to be something maybe similar or in the same vein or in a similar vein to like the Warlords, where they're going to be like prominent characters or whatever, and then that doesn't happen. The closest we get to that day in the presentation of the Akatsuki, and then after that, the only other like reference we get with the 7 Swordsmen and Mist is Suigetsu from Sasuke's group, but they don't go anywhere either.
Oh, we forgot
they
about
just kind of wind up being just I don't even know what I was gonna say meat shields, but they didn't even do a good job at that. Sasuke pretty much
a lot of loose ends in Naruto.
They just wind up being like basically just I don't know. I'm trying to think of what they actually accomplished, and I don't think they really accomplished anything. I think it was just there to make Sasuke feel good or make him feel cool. Like, I don't need Team 7 anymore. I got my own group. I'm a leader.
Yeah, they were all kind of cool. They all had cool things about them.
No, I like the characters. They just don't do anything. And it's sad because they have potential. Like Jugo, actually, I really come to like his character. I think he's a pretty interesting one. He has this duality with him, but Boruto, interesting enough, actually did more with his character. Yeah, because they actually had a whole like arc kind of going more into him. Interesting enough.
That's cool. I still haven't watched any of Boruto, and I probably should because I've heard surprisingly good things. I was expecting to hear bad things about it, but I've heard a lot of good things.
There was a lot of bad things about. Well, there was a lot of bad things about Boruto that people were saying about Boruto at first, and some of that was true. It is kind of a mixed bag, but I'll say this: when it's good, it's actually really good.
Well, that's good.
So you kind of have to probably take it on an arc-to-arc basis because they do kind of range in quality, but like the really good stuff is just like it's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know when I'll get around to it because I have a whole lot of One Piece to do, and I'm watching Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds right now, which is kind of a weird watch for me. I'm trying to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh! And I thought motivation would come from watching the anime.
Oh, that's funny because I actually just started watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Recently as well. Interesting enough.
Hmm.
But we seem to be on the similar.
I watched the first two. I never watched 5Ds because I thought like the idea of card games on motorcycles was too silly. But now I kind of like it.
It's a stupid idea. But I'll say this right now: 5Ds is I think it's my favorite of the Yu-Gi-Oh shows.
It's been surprisingly good. It's had the worst dialogue in any of the Yu-Gi-Oh shows that I've watched so far, and that's saying something. But the overall story is kind of fun to follow.
You know, it's kind of like one of the darker Yu-Gi-Oh shows. Interesting enough.
Yeah. So there's like 3 more Yu-Gi-Oh shows for me to watch after this, so I'm trying to go through all of them. And maybe I'll learn things about the game in the process, because they don't seem to cheat as much as they did in the original series.
Yeah, I'm because they have like, you know, like Yu-Gi-Oh they have like a Yu-Gi-Oh official channel. They air like a bunch of the episodes on the YouTube channel. So yeah. I've been kind of rewatching some episodes of the original series and GX, mainly because GX is a show I never finished.
Oh yeah, they didn't finish it. I mean, they finished it. They didn't finish dubbing it.
No, yeah, because there's a season 4. But the thing is, I don't think I've ever watched a season in full. I don't know why. It's just that I think by the time I tried to actually start watching it, they stopped airing it or stopped airing it less, and also I think at the time I was having sleeping issues, so every time it would come on, I'd be missing it.
Yeah.
Because I overslept, or maybe there was another show on at the time, because you also have Fox. Well, no, actually, I think Fox might have died out by this point, but yeah. So that was another issue, because I remember what shows I was trying to watch on Fox. Oh yeah, Sonic, Kirby, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and whatever else they had on there. Because they Fox had some weird animes on there. Because I remember there was this one anime they had. It's like a bunch of like food fighting.
Food fighting.
It's not.
Oh, is that Toriko? Toriko?
No, it wasn't Toriko. It was like actual food, like the characters of food, like burgers and stuff. and the English dub, because I think there's still 4 kids. The opening was so stupid. It actually did catch my attention though, because I was like, all right, I kind of wanted to watch this, and then I watched one episode, and I wound up being highly disappointed by it, and I never watched it again. Maybe because it wasn't as silly as I was hoping it was gonna be. Like, I expected it to be a stupid show, and I didn't get that.
Oh.
I think it might have been.
You wanted Boba, but you just got whatever.
No, it's like I wanted Boba when I got Naruto. I was like, that's not what I asked for.
That's not weird.
Look, even if it was objectively good, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
Look, if I came for garbage, I expect garbage.
I mean, it's sometimes it's fun to watch bad shows, but like I don't want boring bad shows. If I want a bad show, I want it to be real.
Yeah, like Akame Got Killed. That show I actually originally hated so much, but then I've been watching my sister. I actually enjoyed it a lot more, and the reason is because it's so bad, but it's a show that doesn't think it's bad. It thinks it's a good show, like it's trying to be all deep and philosophical, but the writing is the writing is like it's almost like I'm trying to think of a way to explain it. All right, no, the writing is basically stupid. It's over the top action, while trying to be all like dark and serious, like something like Attack on Titan or Tokyo Ghoul. It's trying to be something like that, but it doesn't make any sense. And it does a lot of over the top stuff as well.
I'm just raising my hand till you're done. It's polite to raise your hand in class. I gotta go. I'm way past my time. I had something I was supposed to do.
Yeah, I guess we could start wrapping this up. We're already like an hour in. So, I got no footage, I guess. But yes.
You'll be able to...
No, there's plenty. I didn't really need that much. Besides, we pretty much talked about what we was going to talk about, so...
Pretty much.
Yeah,
I'll try to
so
come with something weird next week, or whenever we do it next.
Yeah. I mean, by the time we come back, you'll be done with the pre-time skip, so at least you should be, right?
Probably. We do like at least 5 episodes a night minimum. So.
Yeah, so you can kind of give me like your overall. So this is what we'll do next rundown when it comes to, like, the One Piece at least. You can give me like your overall feelings on the pre-time skip stuff, like how your feelings have changed on that, like for example, like maybe some arcs you didn't like before that you enjoyed more now, and why, and like, or even characters. Maybe some stuff you might have caught that you didn't catch the first time around.
Yeah, I'll give you my full review if I must, because I have lots of thoughts.
All right, then we'll definitely do that.
We'll dedicate an episode to it.
Yeah. And yes, if you have any weird stuff, you can bring that in too. So again, any final thoughts?
No, I'm tired. I think I'm done thinking tonight.
Cool hat, by the way. What is that? And shirt.
Oh, it's from Sami Callihan. He's a wrestler for Impact, TNA, basically.
So that stuff is from both of that? Your shirt and your hat?
The shirt is from the wrestling company that I used to and am going to be working for again. And
you're not
the
wrestling,
Death Machine
right?
hat. What? Oh, no. Maybe I'll go through a table. We'll see what happens.
No, but you're going to be doing more like behind the scenes stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably better.
Yeah. I'm a fragile person. I'm not.
Yeah, because we need you in tip-top shape in this show. So. But anyway, right. before I end this, again, give shout out to Diggs, by the way, from Twitch, because he had left a comment. He said, "Hey, what's up, G?" I'm assuming this is one of the 3 followers I have on Twitch. So shout out to him. And this guy, I don't know who he is. Maybe I did get 2 new subscribers, so maybe this is who this guy is. DJ Rex a lot. He says, he's basically saying, whoa. Spoilers.
Whoa, spoilers.
Yeah, he's talking about.
Oh, he must have come in after the spoiler alert warning.
Yeah, he's talking about that scene. So
we gotta put spoiler alert in the title next time.
Yeah. For any future episodes, everyone, when we talk about stuff like this, it's gonna be basically spoilerific. So, it is what it is. So if you're not trying to get spoiled, you probably shouldn't be watching this. I know that's probably not something I should be saying because that's gonna be less viewership, but I just have to be straight up with it. And if you don't mind that, come on by. And on that note, thank you, Brady, for coming.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
And thank you, Peridot.
Yeah, for screaming for roughly 1/3 of it. Okay, maybe it was less. He's had worse days.
Again,
he calmed down after a little bit.
Again, RIP headphone users. This was recorded on June 6th of 2021, and I'm making this a point, at least most of my recording, except for the 65 Roses thing, because by the time I finish editing this, it's probably going to be 2022, so... So by the time you guys hear this, it's probably going to be like 10 years from now. So I'm talking to you guys from the future. But anyway, so that was an episode. Just the 2 of us. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and join us next time as we do another episode of Always Late to Everything, because we were too early for the party. Yeah, I actually made a whole opening that actually says that, but now that I'm not really like doing like the video version of it, it's just feels like a waste, but yeah, so I'm saying it live now. So anyway, well, everyone have a good day, good night, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good all that stuff. So until next time.